Okay, I'm going to explain how to do a table of authorities in Word. So we're looking at the Dovey Copa reply brief draft, and I'm going to share my screen to show you how this works. All right, so this is my Word screen. You can see we've got the ribbon at the top, and you've got the styles pane over here to the right. You can see here that just for formatting things, this is the brief opening level, which basically creates bold and small caps and a little space beneath it. This is a TOA heading style. You can see right there. These are table of authorities style for these, which basically means it's there's no space between them. It's not like it's there's less space between the lines than is typical. So this list here of table of authorities is not created manually, and creating it manually it would be insane. So never do it. This is created automatically, and what populates the list is are citations that you've marked. Okay, so in order for Word to know that it's a citation that it needs to put in this list, you need to mark each citation. So this is actually like a template that is filled by the marked citations. And you can see that if I right click this section and type and click toggle field codes, you can see that what is actually here is what's called a template in programming. It says table of authorities. I don't remember what H means. I don't remember what these codes mean right there, but I do know that C1 means that it's cases as opposed to statutes or treatises. So the other ones will dawn on me too, I think, in time. But anyway, if I toggle that field code back, now suppose I deleted a citation from the document. If this is properly set up, I should be able to right click it, click update field, and just have that citation gone, but everything else the same. So I'm going to try right clicking and pushing update field. But then what happens is I get this error message, no table of authorities entries found. That means that the template didn't find any citations that had been marked. So let's figure out how to fix that. And the way to fix that is to mark each citation. You don't need to include record citations in the table of authority. So we'll skip that. We'll scroll down to the first time we see an actual citation to legal authority. And I see it right here, Montreal Convention, Article 35(1). So first of all, I'm going to highlight the citation. Okay, I actually see it here on the right side of the ribbon, of the references ribbon. It says Mark Citation. So I'm going to click Mark Citation. And you can see it brings up this thing. And by the way, this is sort of a poorly designed system that is tricky to use. So it may take some time to really understand it. But first thing you need to do is pick the category, because that's going to show you, that's going to determine which of the lists in the table of authorities it goes in. In this case, it's a statute. And we want to fix the short, let's fix the short citation and just say it's Montreal Convention, and then mark it. And then I think if you click next, see what else it finds. Yeah, it'll go hunting for them, but I don't know if it's going to know how to find them. So we'll save that. We'll work on other ones in the future. But going back to the Montreal Convention one we just marked, if I put my cursor there, I can see here it's a short citation. Montreal Convention shows up. Let's close this dialog. And you can see here with the field codes visible, what it's done is immediately after the text, the citation itself, it creates these brackets that says table of authorities. The \L means it's the long form citation. And then the \S means it's the short form citation. And then C \C 2 means it's a statute instead of a case. Okay, so with just that there, let's do one more. Let's do this book, Brian Garner, Dictionary of Modern Legal Usage. I'm going to highlight that. Click Mark Citation. And this one, I don't really need a short citation because I only do it once, but let's just say Garner, a model of Dictionary of Modern Legal Usage, and then change the category to treatises, and then mark it, and we'll close. And then you can see the field code appear next to it. You can, if you right click and click toggle field notes, it doesn't appear in this menu, but if I go to, you can go to, let's see here, how can you do this? Home. Okay, so there's a button in the home ribbon that looks like it's a Pilcrow sign that shows or hides hidden characters and fields. So right now it's on, and you can see here it shows, for example, that there are spaces between one space between each word. And in this case, it makes this field show up next to the citation. If I click the Pilcrow button now and hide it, now the citation information disappears, but it's still there. So it's just not visible. So let's scroll back up to the table of authorities. I'm going to update the field on statutes, and now it finds one, which is the one we marked, Montreal Convention, Article 35. And then we'll update treatises, and it finds one, which is the one we marked. Okay, so that's the process, and you have to go through each, each time you cite something, you go through and you mark it. And let's see here. This, by the way, is not right for a block quote. We need to use the block quote style, which is right here. And now that'll appeal correctly. Okay. But this right here, I don't think is a citation. And I know that because, in other words, Word doesn't know that this is a citation. And I know that because if I click the Pilcrow sign to make hidden characters and fields appear, you don't see any citation information. So this is a good example of one that we'll look at because it's the same one as before, but you need to mark it again because that way the table of authorities will point to each page on which it's cited. So let's go to References tab on the ribbon, click Mark Citation, and there's the Montreal Convention, Article 35. We will click the appropriate short cite and mark it. I don't think that's actually the way we want to do this, though. In retrospect, I think we want the short cite to refer to the article as well. So I might change that up. So to do that, if I go back up to the first time we cited the Montreal Convention, you see I have Montreal Convention Article 35 for the long one, and for the short, I have Montreal Convention, and I'm going to add Montreal Convention Article 35.1, and that will make it appear as its own line instead of grouping all the Montreal Conventions together. So I'll do the same thing here. Okay, and now let's see if that works. So to see if that works, let's go back up, see what happens. Just update the field, and you can see here when I update the field, what happens is you have Montreal Convention with the specific article listed out because we've turned that into the short cite. And then you see the pages on which it's cited. Okay, so let's see here. The next thing we can do is there is a way to hunt for the next citation. So let's see if we can do that. Go back up to, let's go to next citation. It's guessing where they are. I don't remember exactly how to get it to kind of cycle through them once you've marked them, but we haven't marked them yet anyway, so it doesn't matter. So this is an example of a case. We'll show you this one, and then I'm going to show you an important shortcut here. So, so I want to mark this as a citation, so I'm highlighting the whole thing, not including the parenthetical. Click Mark Citation. Category is cases. Short citation is, let's say, Bartolet. That way, what's going to happen, the purpose of the short citation, if I remember correctly, is that now every time we cite that, it will associate it with the long citation. And so it will, keep them together, even though you're not listing the whole long citation each time, if that makes sense. So I'm going to mark it, close, and you can see the field here. Long citation is this whole thing. You have to think about whether you want the pin cites in the table of authorities. And I don't think we do. So for that reason, in fact, I know we don't. So I'm going to delete the pin cite from the long citation category here after L. And then let's go back up here to the cases of the table of authorities, the cases list. And I'm going to update the field. And now we have one marked case, which looks like that. Okay, so now this is obviously a time-consuming, error-prone process. You have to make sure you mark the IDs and associate those with the correct citation, for example. And if you mark something enough times, it'll turn into a PASIM cite, meaning it's cited throughout the brief. But the next thing I want to show you that's an important step in getting this, getting this done quickly is to actually set up a keyboard shortcut. So for that, I'm going to go to the help and type in customize keyboard, which is the name of the menu icon, the menu option. And you can find that by tools, customize keyboard at the bottom. Click that. And I get this, this box, this customized keyboard thing. And it's separated by categories, but I sometimes find that I can't find things if I sort through the categories. So I just click all commands. And basically what this does is it gives you a list of literally every single command that you can use in Word, including a lot of ones that you never knew or needed to know existed. But you can search them. One of them is mark citation. There it is, mark citation. Okay. And you can see here that I've actually set up a couple of keyboard shortcuts for this. I have Command Shift A, Command Control A, Command Control I, Command Option Shift I. And so Command is like the control key in Windows, but Command is the Mac version. So if you're on Windows and you had the same shortcut set up, you could do Control Shift A, and it would automatically mark the citation. That's really essential because it's going to make it so much faster because you don't have to move your mouse around each time. You just hold that keyboard shortcut. Okay. While you're here, make sure that just note that you should always set up keyboard shortcuts for things you use a lot. I would say, obviously, like the most common ones that I use are, let's see, like paste unformatted text would probably be the most common. Like paste text. Let's see, paste text only is the name of the command. Another thing you can do is you can actually associate keyboard shortcuts with the style, but I use the style pane, so that's not that important. Common symbols is important. You definitely need a style for M dashes or shortcut for M dashes, which we use all the time. For me, I use Command Shift M or Command Control M. N dashes Mac has a keyboard key for, so I don't need it, but you can do like Control Shift hyphen. And then the other one that you're going to need a lot is non-breaking space. I use Control Shift space, which basically means that it creates a non-breaking space so that the line cannot break at that particular space. The section symbol you use all the time in law. I don't actually have one set up for that, so I'm going to set one up. Let's try. You can go press new keyboard shortcut. I'll do Command Control S, and you can see it's unassigned, so I'm not taking it from any other command. I'm going to assign it. Let's try this one. Command Shift S. So basically, if I do one of these keyboard chords now, it will insert a section symbol. Paragraph symbol or Pilcrow sign is also very commonly used in law. So you can point to a paragraph in a complaint, for example. Let's type in the same sort of thing. Command, Control Shift P to make one of those appear, and Command Shift P for another one. that's an example of some of the things you can do here. Any command that you find yourself using your mouse to do a lot, you should change it into a keyboard shortcut. All right, so that's sort of how it's done, and you just have to go through each one and mark it. And if you do that, then the table of authorities will populate correctly. So let me just show you like one or two more examples. So here in the main text, we have this Narayanan case. First of all, you have to change your Word auto format settings so that it does not do automatic superscript, because we don't use legal superscripts in legal writing. You can, if I go to help, let's see here. How do you do it? It used to be called auto formatting. Autocorrect options under tools, I believe, does it. Tools, autocorrect options. Let's open that up. And you want to, let's see here, go to auto format as you type, and you can see some of these things that change, that word will change automatically as you type. You want to make sure that you, let's see here. You do want this one, for example, that turns straight quotes into smart quotes when you type them out. I thought somewhere in here, this is another way to create an M dash, is to type 2 hyphens in Word and then hit space, and it should turn into one automatically. You can do this thing called auto text, by the way, where you type in something, you can basically insert a template and it will put the whole thing in there. So you can do that for discovery objections and so on. Haven't really experimented with that, but it would be really useful to do. Let's see, but I'm worried about superscripts. So I don't see that option. Yes, right here, ordinals with superscript under auto format as you type. That has got to be removed. So turn that off. And now if I type second or first, it's not going to turn it into superscript. It'll do it correctly. So let's close that out. And I'm going to type over 9th here and, hit space, and you'll see it does not, it does not make the TH small. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is, let's see here. So when you have the citation signals, by the way, that should be italics. Let's mark this one here, this case. By the way, I'm holding shift. What I'm doing here to make this happen quickly is I'm holding shift to highlight as my cursor moves, and you'll see it normally highlights one letter at a time. But if you hold shift and option on a Mac and it's some other key on Windows, you can move from word to word, right? So that's a pretty efficient way. If you do shift command on a Mac, you'll move line to line. But there's basically you want to learn ways to move your cursor around quickly with your keyboard alone, and that will really speed up your workflow. So I'm gonna just grab this citation, and I'm gonna do Control Shift A, which is the keyboard shortcut we made. And then let's make sure it's set to cases. For short citation, we'll just do the first name of the case. I'm sorry, the first party name, and we'll mark it. You can verify that it was done correctly. You can, most importantly here, make sure, as you look at the field code, make sure it says under long citation, you delete the pin site, because you don't want it to appear in the table of authorities. All right, that's that. And let's see here, Federal Rules of Procedure 15C1B, we'll mark that, Control Shift A, change of statutes. And, whatever you have here, let's mark it. And, remember that whatever you have after the /L in the field is what's going to appear in the table of authorities. All right. Let's look at how to do an ID1 here on this example, Resolution Trust Co. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to do Control Shift A to mark the citation, change the short form so it's just Resolution Trust Co. and click mark. Let's close out, and you can see here everything looks right there. And now there's this ID at 284, and I'm not really worried about this ID because it's so close to the other one that likely, I mean, it's probably not going to change the way the table of authorities looks. But if there was a page break right here, which there may end up being for some reason, then it would only show that the citation's on the first page and not necessarily on the second page. So to fix that, you have to mark the IDs as well. So you just highlight the ID, and let's do Command Shift A. And then when you do that, instead of letting it be ID at whatever, you click the case that it refers to. So in this case, it was Resolution Trust Core, and mark it, and click down here. And now what happens is although it may say ID, this tells Word that this is actually a citation to Resolution Trust Co. So, all right. So if that is, so that's what you do. So you have to do it for each, for each one. Again, here you have see ID at this. So I'm just going to mark that and tell Word it's talking about Resolution Trust Co. still. And then you see it's quoting this other citation. I'd like that to appear in our table of authorities too. So I'll mark that, change it to statutes, and make sure it is, and then make sure we mark it. One thing I see is already set to statutes. That tells me that I screwed this up with Resolution Trust Core, because where it says at the end of the field, where it says \C2, that is the code for statutes. So as a result, if I update the statutes in our table of authorities, right click, update field, you'll see that we have statutes and then we have Resolution Trust Co. And so that's a mistake. We want it to show up in cases, not statutes. So let's go down. And the way to fix that is to go to Resolution Trust Co. where we first cite it. And where it says \C2, I just happen to know from working with this for a while that it's C1 is the cases. So I just changed it from C2 to C1. Now, if I go back up, let's experiment and see if it worked. When I right click the statutes, update field, it disappears. When I update the cases field, it appears along with another one we did. All right, so that is pretty much how it goes. And from here on out, it's just a matter of marking them all. So hopefully that that speeds up the process. And happy Word formatting.